Better Everyday podcast listeners. I'm your host, Brad Weems. Today's guest is a 10-year gym owner. He's been featured on SportsCenter as a Drew Brees lookalike and a leader in the fitness industry in Lafayette, Louisiana. Today's guest is Jeremy Hohle. How's it going, bro?
It's going good, man. I appreciate you reaching out to have me on today. I'm excited. I like talking anything fitness, so I'm excited to be on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, we've been back and forth for, I guess, a month now. So I appreciate you, scheduling this out and making it happen today.
No problem, man. Thank you.
I met Jeremy a couple years ago at Stu Brower's Self-Made Summit in Charlotte, and he and I were hanging out on Saturday night at the social. Just a real good dude. So been following him and seeing what Ragin Fitness Co has been doing since then. So I thought it'd be cool to grab him and put him on the podcast today. So Jeremy, tell everybody a little bit about you, your family, growing up, life as a gym owner, so on.
Yeah, man. So I'm from a little town, Cecilia, Louisiana. If you don't know where that's at, look it up. It's a pretty cool little town. As soon as I graduated from high school, I moved into the big city over here called Lafayette. You know, growing up in a little town, when we got to come to Lafayette, it was always a big deal. So we'd go to the mall, and I just thought it was this huge place that not many people got to visit from Cecilia. But yeah, man, I played sports in high school. I played football, baseball. I pole vaulted my senior year. And I was really never into working out. I did it because I had to do it in high school. And then I started at UL, getting my undergrad to go to PT school. And my senior year, I did an internship as a physical therapy assistant, but I also did an internship as a personal trainer. And probably about 2-3 weeks into my intern, I started thinking like, man, I don't think I want to go to PT school anymore. More school, have to take out a big loan. And I was just kind of getting bored at a therapy clinic. And then I'd go to my intern as a personal trainer, and I just felt a passion there. And I really didn't even understand it at the time, but that's what was happening. So I decided to pursue personal training. I graduated. I personal trained for about a year, and one of my buddies at the gym, who was also a trainer, was doing this CrossFit thing. You know how that goes. Everybody remembers their first CrossFit workout. Ours was called Whoop Ass, and it was 6 thrusters, 6 pull-ups, and like 6 burpees. Took me about 7 or 8 minutes, and I threw up everywhere. And I mean, coming from somebody I wasn't really passionate about working out. I just like to be challenged, and I like to compete. And I mean, that was right up my alley. So started doing CrossFit with him, and he talked about opening up a gym, and we kind of did some stuff, and then we decided to part ways, and he opened his. I went ahead and opened my own gym. I was really passionate about CrossFit, and that's kind of what fueled me to go open my own gym. I've always wanted to work for myself. And then after a few months of doing that, I realized like I'm really able to make a difference in these people's lives every day. And once I realized that, the passion really grew. And then fast forward, 10 years later, we have a girl that lost 200 pounds and, is a mom of 3 or 4. And, I have 3 sweet little girls. And hearing her story, like she always wanted to be a cop, but she couldn't because she was really overweight. Well, she lost all this weight. Now she gets to do handstands with her kids. She's a cop now. And it just really resonated with me, man. And that's really what really fuels me every day, is just I see firsthand, like we did make a difference. Our gym made a difference in this girl's life. So yeah, man, that's kind of my story as far as like how I opened the gym. I have a beautiful wife, Miss Lindsay Hohle, and 3 little girls, 6, 5, and 2.5. They keep us very, very, very busy. Kate, Caroline, and Camille. So, but yeah, man, that's kind of my story. 10 years later, we're still doing our thing, and I just try to improve every 3 to 6 months, something in the gym, and just try to constantly evolve with the fitness industry, which is why you and I both ended up in in Charlotte, North Carolina together, and I had previously went to the Iron and Mortar Summit in Portland, Oregon, where I got to hang out with Jason Khalipa, Chris Spieler, like Miranda Oldroyd, just all these beasts in the fitness industry. And I just feel like, and you know the same, hanging around with these people that have been there and done that, that's how you get better. So that's kind of where I'm shifting my vision now, is like, what can I do better? Who can I surround myself with to take it to that next level?
Yeah, man, a lot there. You know, people that I think get into fitness and start their own gyms, they don't realize what kind of impact they're going to make. You know, I'm sure it's been the same for you. We've had people get married, people meet their future spouse there. Heck, I was one of them. I met my wife. She was the sixth member of the gym. And I asked my business partner, I'm like, I know it's like 13% of our membership base, but can I ask this member? And so here we are, you know. But, you know, you have people that maybe were, especially after a 2020, that are going through something personal in life, and that workout is what just completely changes their trajectory for where they're going down the road. And I tell people all the time, it's just such a fulfilling and rewarding opportunity that we have to give back to others as much as they give to us. So,
yeah, exactly, man. And you know, I remember when before we opened, you know, I met my girlfriend at the time and told her, like, you know, yeah, I want to open this gym, and she was there for me every step of the way. She was in nursing school at the time, and I actually managed a bar on Friday and Saturday night. So I did that while we were looking for a building, and my wife actually found the building we're in today. It's in like not the fanciest part of town. And when she said, let's go right down here and look, I said, I'm not going to open a gym down there. She's like, well, let's just go look. And then 8 months passed and we still hadn't found anything. And then when we found this place, I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like, I can't believe we found it. So, you know, we spent every single day here when we had time fixing the place up on our own. Of course, you know, you have those friends that are always there to help. And then I coached every class for a year from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I had like 14 classes from day one, which is a terrible idea. You always want to start with less classes and then add. It's a lot easier to do that than take classes away. But I did that for about a year, and then I finally hired my first coach, and my wife made me quit my bar job because it was easy cash money. I didn't have to pay myself at first, you know. And I rode that horse as long as I could, but once I gave that up, that's when I saw the gym kind of grow even more.
Yeah.
So
you're telling me you coached 14 hours a day?
We had a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I had a noon class, and then a 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, and a 7:30 class. You know, it was, and you know, like some of those, I had 20, 30 members from day one. So some of those classes didn't have anybody. So I would clean up and do stuff, or hide away and take a little nap if I could.
We've got so many similarities. I started as a personal trainer as well. My wife is a nurse practitioner now. I got a 4 and 1 year old, and we both are striving to surround ourselves around people that are better in order to push us to be better. So I think that's real cool, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on today. Is, you know, you talked to the Steve Pinkertons and the Stu Browers of the world that, you know, are a little bit different level, but it's cool to, I don't know, you know how it is, like their social media presence is so big. It's almost like they're big time, you know?
Yeah.
That it's cool to, like, not that you're not big time, like you're doing big things down there at Ragin, but it's cool to, like, just talk to someone that, you know, is still putting in the hours and kind of came from a similar background. So.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and we're actually, you know, we've been open over 10 years. I've had quite a few gym owners reach out to me over the past, 6 to 8 months, and I've talked with Stu. I've talked with my guy Boris that did my rebrand, and getting into consulting. We have some things coming up in the pipeline with, where our biggest focus on our business and where our success comes from really is our customer service. And that's really like the foundation for any business out there is great customer service. And it took me, 8, 9 years to realize it, that not everybody is good at customer service. And it's something here that we've just always done. And taking that niche and helping other gym owners and other businesses figure out how to implement policies and procedures dealing with customer service is kind of where we're heading with our consulting business called Talking Table Service. And it's basically we're comparing the restaurant industry to any other service industry, especially gyms. You have your waitress, your waiter, you have your coach, you have your menu, you have your workout. So, and you've heard this before from Jason Khalifa and all these other guys, that you can have the level 4 certified coach, you can have the greatest workouts, but if you don't have somebody who can talk to people and engage in that customer service, then it's a success. It's a recipe for failure. If you take mediocre workouts, a coach that's kind of just starting, but they're great with people, they're a people person, people are going to come to their class regardless, and that's where that customer service really comes into play.
People will forget workouts, but they won't forget about how someone made them feel or how they cared about them.
For sure. You're 100% right.
Fitness trends change. Just in the 10 years that we've been in it, CrossFit's hit its peak. It's come back down, and Orange Theory's come up. Zumba's been around, but having someone that actually cares about you will never go out of style.
Yeah, and it's something here that we don't have to force. It's something that we're genuine about. I really care about people. Like I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy helping people reach goals. I enjoy hearing people's day-to-day lives, like what do you have going on, and that really resonates with people, man. They some people don't have anybody to talk to, and that's a big part of our success here.
And I feel like that's become even more important since the year that we faced last year.
Yeah,
we all spent months in the house, and human interaction is only going up in value.
Yeah, and that's kind of a good point to touch on too. Like the way we handled COVID here, the Saturday before everything closed, I think everything closed on the Wednesday. I stayed up late that Saturday night. My wife was asking me what I was up to. I said, man, I think, the NBA just shut down. I think they're going to shut everything down. So I'm coming up with a plan. And my plan was, if they shut us down, I'm going to let any one of my members come take any piece of equipment they want to their house. And it started, we shut down. I sent this email out. We had people come in for 2 days straight. I spent about 10 hours at the gym each day with a tablet, writing down what people were picking up. And then once all the kettlebells and stuff were gone, one person asked me like, oh, can I take one of those runners home? I said, yeah, as long as you bring it back. I said, I'll even drop it off to your house. And they thought I was joking. I loaded this $5,000 machine up, went drop it off. I put it on social media because I knew it was going to happen. Mm-hmm. As soon as I did that, the messages start coming in. Man, I can get a rower. I can get a ski erg, a bike erg. I was like, come get it. So we lent out every piece of equipment that we had to probably 160 of our members. And I utilized that time, not having to move all the equipment out. We cleaned the gym from top to bottom. Everything was already out, so why not clean? So I kind of used it as something positive. Like, look, something good can come out of this. Let's clean the gym. And, once things get back to normal, and all of those members continue to pay their dues. And on top of that, we would record workouts for FlyFit and for CrossFit. And we would just post those, and people were following along at home. So,
yeah, I read today is the 1 year anniversary of kind of everything going crazy. I think the NBA closed down this date last year. So
yeah, March 11th. Yeah, because I think it was probably like March 13th or 15th that everything closed, or the 12th. I don't remember. I try to
Yeah,
forget.
it is different for every state, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, so what have been some of your biggest ups and downs as a gym owner?
So I would say my biggest ups and downs and like my struggles and my successes all come into that rebrand that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, it does. I've come to the realization that anybody going through a rebrand, you can go sit down with Jason Khalifa. You can sit down with all of these business mentors that have been through it. You can listen to what they have to say, but until you get in it and do it, the stuff I listened to before and like the coaches I've had, like it helped, but you still end up making mistakes, and the only way to get through it is just to learn from those mistakes. Like I'm sure anyone that's done a rebrand maybe had a coach told them what to do, but there were still things that went wrong. And the biggest thing is communication. If you don't have that communication to your members and to your staff, then you're gonna struggle, and that's where a lot of my struggle came from. Is, well, they know, and look, I shared information with people about why we rebranded and all this stuff, but there's still things that you just don't get into detail as an owner because you're like, oh well, everybody understands that. I don't have to go out there and say that, when you have to explain every single detail of what you're doing and the why behind each thing. So when we rebranded, we made a lot of changes, and I didn't want it just to be a logo change. So, we stopped using chalk because of COVID, and we got this liquid chalk. That was the biggest deal in the world. Like people freaked out about it, but after a few months, we had the liquid chalk. We started getting the victory grips, which are awesome. Those tactical victory grips. We've probably sold over 200 pairs since we've made our rebrand to all of our members because they work so well. You don't need chalk with them, and I explain this chalk. It goes somewhere. It doesn't just disappear. It floats. It gets in all. We have all our workouts on TVs now. And some very expensive speakers. Like I don't want chalk getting in there and ruining it when we don't really need it. You know.
So one thing, Jeremy. So obviously, I know what a rebrand is, but like for the average person that doesn't understand these terms, like talk about like what that conversation with Boris looked like and what exactly it means to rebrand.
Okay, so first off, I'm gonna give my boy a plug because he is the best ever. Boris owns Metcon Creative. He's based out of Australia, and basically, he was supposed to be at the Self-Made Summit, but he couldn't make it. So my first rule of business when I got back was I messaged him this big long message about why I wanted to rebrand. I've been wanting to do it for 2 or 3 years, and we hopped on a call, and we basically took my business from Ragin CrossFit to Ragin Fitness Company. And the reason behind that was we don't own the name CrossFit. So if, and I've said it for years, if Greg Glassman ever does something crazy, then the name CrossFit is tied to my business. And lo and behold, what happened. So I've been wanting to do because of that reason, but also we're no longer just a CrossFit gym because we started a program called FlyFit about 3 years ago. We have individual design, personal training, nutritional counseling. So just calling our gym CrossFit was doing ourselves kind of a disservice as well as any potential members because the stigma that word CrossFit holds is real. And perfect example, 1 week after we rebranded, I got 3 or 4 ladies that came sign up because they didn't want to do CrossFit anymore and they saw we weren't CrossFit anymore. When they signed up, they were pretty much doing CrossFit. You know what I mean? So, so the rebrand was basically taking my business model and expanding it to be like more of an umbrella. Like we have Ragin Fitness Company now, and within that Ragin Fitness Company, we have FlyFit and we have Go 60, which are our 2 main offerings that we have. And then Boris and I got on a Zoom call for about 3 hours. and he just asked me a ton of questions, most of them very uncomfortable questions about, being realistic about what your business is like, why do you do it, and just like really dug deep all the way down to my town, like the colors of our college football team. And he took all of this information and created a brand around it. And when I tell you, it was just spot on. The second go round, because the first stuff he sent me he'll tell you it was not good at all. Like he'll tell you. He actually said it on a podcast with Stu. But that's how these things work. He sent me something. I was like, look, this is not really what I want. This is kind of where I'd like to go with it. And he just knocked it out of the park on the second round.
Yeah. So what changed? Obviously logo changed, but when you did this rebranding, like if I walk in as a member on Friday and then I saw you on Instagram, you did all these changes to the facility over the weekend. So like Monday, how was my customer experience different than Friday?
So now the way we have it set up, we have an app. So we have our own branded app where you actually book your own spot. We took our entire pull-up rig out. I sold it, and we installed these individualized stations from PRX where these rigs fold on and off the wall. So instead of 6 foot of lost space underneath that rig, 6 feet wide by 100 feet long, you clear up all of that floor space. So like now when we have a barbell, a box, and a rower, everything fits perfectly because these rigs, you don't have all this lost space on the floor. So when you walk in now, you've booked your spot. So when you go in the app, you book spot 12. There's a diagram of our gym where the TVs are, the fans. So, when it's hot, people like to book that spot next to the fan. Mm-hmm. So they walk in now and they have their spot there. Your equipment's there for you. Everybody has a barbell at their station. Everybody has a weight tree with a set of weights at their station. So on days where we do strength now, you never have to share a squat rack with anybody. You can program workouts where we go from the rack. And the biggest takeaway is it makes coaching so much easier. Having those individualized spots, knowing where each person is.
So when you did this pick a spot model, is that because of COVID and trying to space people out, or to run a more efficient class, or to optimize operational capacity?
So it started, my wife told me not to say I've been wanting to do this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I have wanted to do this for 2-3 years before COVID. I just never knew how or when, or like, how do you go about doing that, and then when COVID came around, I was like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity for me to do my spots like I've always wanted. I've always said when I walk in this door, I want it to look like a college weight room. Everything has a spot. Everybody has a squat rack. So COVID kind of was the catalyst that helped me pull it off. But it's something that I've always had in the back of my mind. Like you get to the gym and all your equipment's there for you. When people sign in ahead of time, and let's say I know Miss Julia doesn't jump on a 16-inch box, she uses 2 plates. I'll go, okay, Miss Julia's coming to my class. I'll go ahead and set up her plates for her so she don't have to mess with it. Or if it's a running day and I know somebody has a hurt ankle and they can't run, I'll go grab a bike out of the fly fit room and put it in their spot. And that all adds to that customer experience, It's like if you show up at a restaurant and they have your favorite drink waiting for you whenever you sit down.
Love it. Yeah.
Same thing.
That's awesome. So one analogy or comparison I heard forever ago was, you have a CrossFit competition. I know you've had some massive CrossFit competitions before.
Yeah, we also put on the Ragin Games every year. So
yeah. So when you have these CrossFit competitions or the Ragin Games, you're setting this floor up and this whole competition up for people that you might see once a year or once every 3 years, or maybe just once in a lifetime. So why would you not do that for your customer on a daily basis that's paying you monthly for your membership? You know?
Yeah. And I really do think also that my want for this model and this system comes from, we were in business for not even a year, and I put on my first competition. Like I opened my gym. Nobody else was putting on CrossFit competitions in Louisiana, so I jumped on it, and I did it at my gym here. 60 people showed up. And then the next year, we ended up having 200 competitors at a venue we rented out, and it's turned into something just 300 plus competitors, 1,000 spectators, and just that setup that we go through over there is so meticulous on everybody has a spot. So that's a very good analogy. I never really thought about it like that.
So you keep talking about this FlyFit program. Let's talk about that, and let's talk about why you wanted to start it.
Yeah, so probably about 3-4 years ago, Orange Theory came to town, and I had a couple women that were still doing CrossFit, but there's a few days I didn't see them. And after a few weeks, I was like, hey, where y'all been on Tuesday, Thursdays? Oh, we started going to Orange Theory for some extra cardio. And I had been playing with the idea of offering something like a boot camp or, something like just like everybody else wants to do a burn class or a boot camp or whatever it is. And I told them, there's like 3 or 4 of them. I said, if I started something here like that, would y'all attend that instead of Orange Theory? And they were like, well, yeah, we'd much rather come here. So I started thinking, you have Orange Theory, they have treadmill, a water rower, some dumbbells, and TRX straps. With the CrossFit clientele, they're not going to go to Orange Theory, not many of them, because it's a boot camp or it's for girls, whatever. So I was like, well, if I can utilize these CrossFit style machines and instead of only getting 2 of them, do all 4, the bike erg, ski erg, rower, and air runner, then you're going to get better results, but you're going to work a little bit harder. And that's the clientele that I like. I like that clientele that doesn't want to just go to the gym to say they went and go walk on a treadmill or do whatever. I want them to come put in some work. So, me and a buddy of mine, he actually came up with the name FlyFit. He's one of the top ranked rowers in the world on Concept 2's website. Big old boy. And he kind of helped me get FlyFit off the ground. And, it's grown ever since then. We started out very small for, I want to say, 1.5 years. We only did 2 days a week. It was just Tuesday, Thursdays. It was, not very expensive. And I worked the kinks out for 2 years. And just recently we expanded the room, and it's kind of really turning into its own thing. Looking at Steve's stuff at EvoFit, listening to him talk at the summit, it really showed me how when we saw his numbers as far as like this is where CrossFit and EvoFit were, and this is where they are now. And I'm kind of seeing that happen here too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So unlike yourself, we did more of what Stu calls a reposition here at Thunder Valley. So we were Thunder Valley CrossFit. We started working with Steve. We did kind of what he did over at Vitality, which is we had our own EvoFit program, which is Thunder Valley Fit Club. Changed our name to Thunder Valley Fitness. And then October in 19, we started our Burn program, which was the same thing. 2 rower, 2 air runners, 2 ski ergs, 2 bike ergs, and then body weight movements. So it sounds like your FlyFit is more of a mashup of what our Fit Club and Burn is. So like what would it what's today's workout at FlyFit, just to give people an idea of what that looks like?
Today's more of just a longer cardio piece. Is a 10-minute a 10-minute run on the air runner, a 2-minute break, 10-minute row, and then just some foam rolling and some mobility after. Cool. So more of just like a longer aerobic day. And then some days we hit more intensity. Some days we hit more bodybuilding style stuff. So it's a good mix of everything.
I know that torpedo is like one of your key pieces in that program, right?
Yeah, we utilize that. We do have some TRX straps and dumbbells, kettlebells. Just no barbells, no kipping, no jumping.
Cool. So you're obviously a husband, father of three, 10-year gym owner, but probably best known for being Drew Brees' lookalike. Am I correct in saying that?
Oh yeah, man. I go to birthday parties and stuff, and people are like, "What's up, Drew?"
So for our listeners, like, just give a little background of what I'm talking about, how you kind of went viral, and how you eventually met Drew Brees.
So probably about 12, 13 years ago, one of my best friends, he's a lawyer here in town, Chaz Roberts. He sent me this picture, and I still have it. It was a picture of me with somebody else that he kind of cut out. Now this was quite a long time ago, so the whole Photoshop and all of that stuff, like he went in. I don't even know how he did it, but he cut the person out of the picture with me and drew me this little. It's like a little brown square on my face, and then he put it side by side with Drew Brees. And he's like, "Man, you look just like Drew Brees." And that's when Drew first came to New Orleans. So whatever, kind of a few people would say it here and there, and then I dressed up like Drew Brees for Halloween one year, and people went crazy. They were like, and not many people knew Drew Brees yet. And then for the Super Bowl is actually where I met my wife in New Orleans. She's from New Orleans, and she actually went to school in Lafayette. Crazy story. And we met on Bourbon Street in New Orleans when the Saints won the Super Bowl. But it was that day I wore my jersey. I took hundreds of pictures on Bourbon Street with people, and I started saying that he was my uncle. I was like, yeah, it's my big deal, getting free drinks. And but yeah, I met my wife that day. The Saints won the Super Bowl, and then 4 or 5 years later, we ended up getting married on the same day that the Saints won the Super Bowl on February 7th, and it just ended up falling like that. So crazy story there, but. So I guess let's say 10 years later, my buddy and I, two football seasons ago, we had been trying to link up to go to a game together. He has season tickets. So when Halloween rolled around, I was like, look, let's go to the Halloween game, and I'm going to dress like Drew Brees. You dress up like Sean Payton. And he said, well, if we're doing that, I'm getting some front row tickets. So he invested in some front row tickets, and from the time we stepped out of the vehicle, it took us like an hour just to get to the stadium because people were stopping to take pictures. And then, not 2-3 minutes in the stadium watching them practice, Kamara was hurt, and Alvin Kamara walks out and he starts pointing at me and laughing. And then as soon as the game started, a lady comes down from CBS or NBC, whatever, and was like, hey, I heard her tell my buddy this. She's like, tell your friend he was just featured on CBS as a Drew Brees lookalike. And from there on, my phone just started going crazy. I mean, it was on national television. And then a few hours later, Barstool picked it up and posted it. Then it was on SportsCenter for a few days and on the news. And it was kind of crazy. And I did a news interview that Monday. And then the Wednesday, the guy that did the interview calls me and he's like, hey, so Drew Brees opened up a kids facility called Surge, and he was coming into Lafayette that day to check it out and do some stuff. And he was like, would you want to meet him? It's like, well, of course I want to meet him. So they lined it up, man, and I got to go hang out with him, and just one of the most nicest, most humble guys. He was genuinely happy to meet me. Saw me. He had to know, like, man, what did you use to do the birthmark? But it was pretty cool. He wanted to take a selfie with me, and it was a pretty good day.
That's cool, man. Awesome story. And then, like, you went to a couple more games after that moment, right?
Yeah. We went to just about every home game after that, and we sat in that front row, and we got on TV. We were on TV every single game after that. We'd make these signs, and get tight with Jermon Bushrod, who is an old Saints player. Him and I still kind of talk on Instagram. And Thomas Morstead came BS with us on one game, so it was cool, man. We actually bought tickets to go to Green Bay, and then we lost in that playoff game and didn't get to go. So yeah,
a bummer.
Yeah.
Man, that's an awesome story. I really like that. Hopefully, the NFL will look a little more normal come this August, and we can get you back there to the stadium.
Yeah, man. This is probably Drew's last year. You know, he's still hanging on. So
your buddy that wanted to invest in these front row tickets, did he want anything in return once you went famous?
No, man. I did. As soon as they said that I can go meet Drew, I made sure he was the first person I called. Though I was like, hey, we got to do it. And he's an orthodontist, so he was like, well, shit, I got patience. But let me see what I can do.
Anybody that you tell, hey, I got a chance to meet Drew Brees this afternoon, they're going to make it work. Which I feel like I remember hearing on a podcast or something, you were saying that you were supposed to coach all that night, and it was even problematic for you to make it happen, right?
Yeah. So they called me, and I was supposed to coach that afternoon class, and you could ask any of my employees. I'm not the type of boss to call somebody and tell them they have to work. I've never been like that. I'm pretty lenient when it comes to that stuff. And I called my boy Max, and I was like, hey, this is the deal. I'd never tell you have to, but I'm asking you, please head to the gym right now, because I got a chance to meet Drew Brees, and he was excited, so he had no problem with it.
That's cool.
But yeah, man, it was just throughout the whole process of that whole season, I was really going through some growing pains here with a lot of stuff. So it was really tough to balance, going to a game on a Sunday night and then coming to coach the 5 a.m. class the next morning. It was interesting, but we made it.
No doubt. Like I was saying earlier, Jeremy and I met over in Charlotte, and it's kind of another crazy story is that week, the weekend we met, you had a crazy week leading up to that. Let's talk about that, man.
Oh, my appendix.
Yeah. So you're all set to go to Charlotte, and all of a sudden you're feeling rough. What, middle of the week?
Yeah. I think I was supposed to leave I was going to leave the Wednesday and then go work out at those different Barry's and all these different places on Thursday and Friday. And then the seminar didn't start till Saturday. So that, I believe, is that Monday, my stomach just wasn't feeling right all day. And that night at about 10 o'clock, I still hadn't eaten. I told my wife, I said, look, I'm going to sleep on the sofa. Something's not right. I'm probably going to throw up. And then come 2 a.m, I'm laying there with tears because I'm in so much pain. And I lasted till about 4 a.m. And I went wake my wife up, and I was like, hey, something's up. I think I might have to go to the hospital. I don't know if your wife's like this being a nurse, but she was like, oh, just go put some ice on it. Go eat something. I'm like, no, I can't even stand up all the way. So we went to the hospital. They did emergency appendix surgery. And the doctor and the nurse, I told them I had a trip scheduled to leave Wednesday, and this was a Monday, I believe, or Tuesday. And they started laughing. They're like, oh, you're not going on your trip? I said, no, I'm definitely going on my trip. I've planned for this. I have goals I need to meet. With my rebrand, I wanted to go meet these people. I said, I have to go. So I did the surgery, woke up. First thing I asked the doctor, I was like, hey, what if I go on my trip, but I leave a few days later? Maybe I'll leave Friday instead of Wednesday. He said, well, you can't carry your luggage. You can't do nothing. I said, I'll wear what I have on and buy clothes out there. I need to go on this trip. So I explained to him how important it was. He said, look, I'll allow you to go. You cannot pick up anything over 5 pounds. So you're going to have to get help with your luggage, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, man, I ended up going 2 days after my surgery, got on the plane. Obviously, I couldn't work out. But I kind of felt like Dwight off of The Office. I don't know if you ever saw that, if you watched The Office, but my wife said, you remind me of Dwight when he had his appendix out on that episode. So
funny.
Yeah, man, it was just something like I knew I needed to go to complete the process of what I had been working on for my rebrand, and there was just some people I needed to meet out there to make that happen. So
Well, I'm glad you did, man, because here we are talking today,
yeah,
and
yeah, man, we would have never even met, you know.
there you go. I'm going to be teaching our burn class here in about 12 minutes or so, but I do want to ask you one question before we hop off.
Yeah, man.
Obviously, you're surrounding yourself around people that you look up to and you want to get better from. What other ways are you? It can be professionally or just as a person. How are you getting better every day?
So to be honest, man, this consulting venture that we're going on is really helping my business. Just because it makes me practice what I preach, and every client that we get that we work with about customer service, and it just makes us that much better. So I feel like this new venture that we're doing with Talking Table Service is just going to exponentially make our gym better, as well as help so many others in a different avenue. Like instead of health and fitness and making those physical changes, we're able to help these gyms better their services. In turn, that's going to help them create a better customer experience and a better lifestyle for all of their clients. So I'm really focusing on that right now. And just in the few months that we've been doing it, it's made our business a lot better as well.
So, are you only working with gyms?
No. So, there's a very hard parallel from the restaurant industry to anything in the service industry. So, we have a gym, but people are reaching out from real estate agencies, restaurants, stuff like that for us to kind of work with them, because at the end of the day, like I said, that customer service is that's the base and the foundation of your entire business. And if you can dial that in, then the other stuff will just kind of fall into place.
100%, bro. Let's talk about how people can learn more about you. Maybe all your handles and your new service that you're offering. If people want to check you out.
Yeah, so my personal Instagram is just Jeremy Hohle, Jeremy Hohle, and then we have our gym, which is Ragin Fitness Co, and then our new venture, which is Talking Table Service. We're putting out a ton of free content there, just about communication, preparation, and just how to run a successful business, treating the clients like you're supposed to. So those are the three things we have going now, and then also. The Raging Games is going to be coming up in probably September this year. We're waiting on the date for that in the venue. We had to cancel it last year because of COVID, but that's something that's been really big for us, extra revenue, and just to kind of share like what we know with all of the gyms around. So you can follow us on the Raging Games too. And if anybody wants to hit up a really cool competition around September, October, check us out and message us if you have any questions.
Awesome. Jeremy, thanks for hopping on today, man.
Yeah, dude, like I said, I really appreciate you having me on, and we need to do this again in a couple months.
Heck yeah, man. Sounds good to me. Listeners, I appreciate you guys jamming with us for a little bit, and we'll be catching up with you next week. Thanks.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.